get that right.
You did too, bro. Good job.
What's going on, San Antonio? It's your boy, Maurice Mosley, and of course, my co-host.
He was once a thug from around the way.
Emery Johnson in the building with y'all.
What it is.
What it ain't.
What it's gonna be. Man, I'm excited, bro.
Bro, I closed my eyes on what it's gonna be because I said it with heart.
Oh, I don't know, man. You real questionable right now, Emery. Oh man, welcome back everybody to episode 10 of Grounded. And man, last episode, what?
Yeah, man. That was good.
The impact we had on that show, we're still feeling it right now.
We're still feeling it.
Because mourning is real.
It's real, man.
And I feel like
people are dealing with that right now. Right.
And I feel like on the men's side, you know, a lot of men really don't come to, you know, with their feelings, bro.
Right,
like,
right.
You know,
they try to hold it in.
And I thought, like I said before, I thought it was a beautiful thing that men can sit together and we just pour our heart out.
Right.
And iron sharpens iron, cry on each other's shoulders. Yeah. And, you know, it was just beautiful to me, man.
Yeah, it's okay to be able to do that, man. We actually had somebody reach out who felt like he was being a little silent, and he saw the show, and it gave him the courage to just come out, reach out to us, and just talk a little bit about what happened. He lost his 17-year-old daughter recently, and he was just being a little bit more silent than what he thought he should be. And so it was awesome to be able to speak with him, and it's because of what we go through, showing strength and giving advice and encouragement, that someone's able to come out and actually share a little bit. So that was awesome.
Right.
Good show.
That was a great show. So shout out to the families, all the families. If you lost someone, like we said, you know, take comfort in the Lord.
That's right.
The Lord will comfort you.
Yeah.
With that said, man, this episode now.
Fiesta.
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 Hold on. I don't know if we want to sing that song, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
We ain't going to go too deep in that situation.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you
Today
know.
We're talking Fiesta.
We don't want to remind anybody about Mr. Kells himself. You know.
Stop.
Lord, please forgive me. What episode we always go there? You know what? That's why we're flawed, bro.
That's why, we are.
We're flawed human beings. But we trying to get it right, Emery.
Yeah.
Anyways, Fiesta. We have an amazing show to talk about Fiesta. If you don't know what Fiesta is, San Antonio does this once a year. And
once a year for 11 days.
Is it 11 days?
Straight up.
That tells you how many times I went to Fiesta.
Some people, they doing a pre-party.
Is it 11 days?
It's 11
You know
days.
what? Before we get into it, we have a guest as well, you guys. Emery, introduce who is here today.
Today we have Melissa Cabello Havrda. I said it right?
It's perfect.
All right. Yeah. She's a native San Antonian. She's an attorney. She went to Taft High School. I went to Southwest High School. No need to. I don't even know why I said that. I must have got defensive. She has her degree in political science at St. Mary's. She has a doctorate at St. Mary's School of Law. She has her MBA at UTSA, and she was the former District 6 Councilwoman 2019 to 2025. And she's also taught business law at Northwest Vista. So that's really awesome. Welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Man, just educated. I love it.
Bro, I was talking to her while we were walking, and I had mentioned that I was asking her about real estate, and she was like, yeah, I did that too. I was like, whoa.
Man. Jack of all trades, huh? I love it. All right. So, educated woman, educated men. The podcast, my friend. I don't know where I'm going with it. Y'all don't stop judging me, all right?
Fiesta, don't start.
Okay,
you don't have on the shirt.
You're right. Fiesta, bro. So you said 11 days.
11
I did not know
days. And for some people, there's a pre-party going on. We got Sarah in the background, and she's like, yep, there's pre-parties. So it's an 11-day celebration here in San Antonio, once a year, like you had mentioned.
But what are we celebrating?
It is the Battle of the Flowers, right? So they're celebrating. What happened is it in 1891 they started to celebrate this. It was the
Look at you,
Battle of the Flowers.
Got your dates all together.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. I'm getting it together.
I like it.
And it was to honor the Texas heroes of the Alamo and the San Jacinto, and it's inspired by Spanish traditions.
Okay.
And so, back then they probably had shooting guns in the air. I seen it on the movies where they're shooting guns in the air.
Let's not make stuff up now, Emery. You watch too much movies, bro. You watch too much movies.
So, Melissa, what has been your experience with Fiesta? Tell us a little bit about
positive. I love Fiesta. It's a party with a purpose, right?
A party with a purpose.
That's right. They are raising funds for scholarships. So it ends up doing good. We don't just party here in San Antonio just to party. Well, we do. But Fiesta is
she had to say that right.
Yeah. So it's really a beautiful thing that we do here in the city. When I was a kid at Taft High School, I used to march in the parades, the Battle of Flower parades, and we've changed things up. I mean, Fiesta is not without its controversy, right? We used to march in front of the Alamo. We have since enlightened ourselves that the Alamo is a graveyard. So we don't march in front of the Alamo anymore. So they changed the course. And all of that was not without, controversy or some debate, but we have to continue to evolve as a community. And Fiesta, just like everything else, has evolved with us.
She's heard it all too, bro. Okay, I know that this is kind of off the cuff, but what was the hardest kind of battle that you had with trying to continue this tradition of the Fiesta? Did anybody ever come sideways with something that was like, really?
Well, right about the time I got elected, there has been a big push to sort of renovate out around the Alamo. You hear our visitors come and say, this is it. Like, this is the Alamo, right? So a lot of what was happening now, you see some renovation around it. A lot of that was because we don't perform the Fiesta parade in front of the Alamo anymore. Fiesta, like I mentioned, the Alamo is a graveyard for our native peoples, right? And so there were even some lawsuits around it because the native indigenous peoples to San Antonio were not happy about some of the way that things were being treated. And again, that was probably the bigger controversy, and that's still going on in some cases. But we're trying to evolve as a community and make sure that all our people are included. I think that's the number one takeaway I hope people get from San Antonio that I feel every day is we try to be as inclusive as possible. So that includes not just present day individuals here, it includes their ancestors. And so that was probably the biggest controversy that happened.
Have you ever celebrated all 11 days?
Of course. Every year I celebrate all 11 days.
What does that look like, though?
There's always so much to do. You have the parades, you have the different festivals. I mean, you have like a dog festival now, I think.
There's a dog festival?
Yeah, there's like a paw, I can't remember the name of it, but all the city departments get involved. They would come to city council. We have the Cavaliers, you have the consejos, you have the Daughters of the Republic of Texas, all of these groups that come in and they're raising money for scholarships.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of history behind each of those organizations, but there have been council members that have received those scholarships when they were kids. So that's what it's an investment to our youth and our community. So yeah, as much as I can, I'm there all 11 days. When I was a kid, it was La Semana Alegra that the adults would go to. We have Nyosa. I think they brought it back actually, La Semana. Nyosa. There's just the carnival. I mean, there's so much to do. And
wait, there's a carnival?
Yeah, rides, the whole thing.
I'm
Yeah.
curious, why did carnival kind of stand out for you out of all the stuff she was saying? Carnival. So he went to the rodeo recently.
Oh, here we go.
So he's all about it. He's like, when he went to the rodeo, he came back. He was so excited. So now you're talking about this, and he's like, carnival.
Yeah, there was a carnival at the rodeo. Did you see Luda? I saw Luda.
Luda. Oh, no, well, I went the next day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard about Luda.
Yeah, it was
but
a
I
good
don't.
show.
All 11 days. There's no one better to have on this particular show because I love all the stuff that she just shared. Man.
Right. I just think I didn't know that. I'm not from San Antonio. I didn't know. 6'7", 6'7". I saw the kids do it. I don't know what it. But from the outside looking in and trying to embrace, what San Antonio does. I'm not a big partier. But I have went to, I think 2 years ago with Scott Ambrose.
Shout out to Scott.
Shout out to Scott. He invited me down to the Riverwalk, and they do a parade. I thought that was neat. Yeah. But I didn't know it was 11 days.
Yeah. Well, there's so many different types
of events that's going on and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay.
More family friendly events, in the daytime.
Right.
Then I was in the River Parade for 6 years. That was fun.
Right.
And yeah, there's a lot of different things.
Right.
So 11 days. There's been talk of expanding just because there's so many events and there's a lot of organizations out there that want to be part of Fiesta. So they want to add their event to Fiesta. But the Fiesta Commission does a really good job of vetting and making sure everybody's, on the same page. And it's not easy to get your organization involved. But when you do and you're part of the festivities, it's a lot of fun.
I just think that's all the positive. But again, like I said, I'm not from here, so the period of time, I've only been here for like 5-6 years maybe, but the period of time that I have been here and I've heard of Fiesta, it's not all of it. Like I said, I went in the daytime, but at night it gets crazy. And I think a lot of times when you have something good, it always, when something bad happens, the bad just dilutes it all.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm like, see, that's why I don't go at night. That's why I don't go outside at nighttime, because they be crazy. But I have seen a lot of people voice their, opinion on that stuff, or they don't want to go to Fiesta anymore and stuff like that. So, I mean, to each his own, I guess, if you want to go, you can. I had a good time when I went during the day, And, but at nighttime, if you're not into that type of party life, which, I'm not, because I think for me, I don't like to open those doors for anything to come in and harm me at all. And again, this is just my biblical way of thinking. Be careful, because I know a lot of stuff nowadays. We just had that incident that happened in Austin and stuff like that. So, I'm always going to say, just go, but just be careful, be wise, and it's crazy out there, but.
I mean, we recognize that anywhere you go, you deal with people, and certain people have certain ways of behaving, certain ways of being, and then when they're under an influence of something, it could amplify that. So we just want to say, be careful. But I love some of what Melissa was sharing, because it is an opportunity for you to go out, meet new people, to learn a little bit about the city and about this event, which is 11 days. A lot of people can't say that they've experienced 11 days. Well, I won't say a lot. I can say that for myself, that I have not experienced 11 days of Fiesta. I know it was 11 days. I've went before. I've went at night.
Born and raised in San Antonio, you ain't do all the 11 days.
No.
Why?
No.
Why?
Some of the same reasons. Some people are out there and it's just not the right surroundings sometimes, and you just want to be mindful of where you go, and if you do go, you want to be aware. So, and that's for anything though. Anywhere you go, you want to be aware, because you're dealing with people, and if you're dealing with people, then you're dealing with sin, and you don't know what type of influence that some of these people are under. So that's fine. I think we all consider that, which is why they have officers out there. They consider, like, wait a minute, there may be some people around that aren't going to do good. They're going to do something that's bad. So, I would encourage you to be aware, but if you want to experience something that's awesome, go out there and experience. I have a question for you on that, though, while you were talking about it, which sounds, all of it sounds awesome. And I know you've experienced it.
I love it.
Does it capture, or is there opportunity for people to learn about the history as to why the Fiesta is here? Do you feel like we have not so much the culture, but the history? The culture is definitely, it's overflowing for this event. Yeah. How about where it comes from or why it's there? Do you think that we capture that as a city?
I think that during the 11 days, I couldn't point at a particular event that's going to say, we're going to educate you on the history of Fiesta. But, when you're growing up here, you take Texas history, and it's part of Fiesta is part of what you learn. Right. You have the Cavaliers, or you have El Rey Feo come to your school, and they would come and talk to us about it. So we learned about it growing up. I'm sure every city has their own kind of particular culture that you learn about actually in school. And so we learned about a lot of that growing up. Now, I know you can go to the missions, you can go to the Alamo, and you can educate yourself. Right. I don't know that there's a specific event, Fiesta event, that during the 11 days that says, come here and you're going to learn all the history of Fiesta.
Right, or maybe a float that says, 1891, honor all of, those type of things. I'm wondering, like, is there an opportunity for us to do that? Or can we as a city get to a point where we're kind of pointing that out so that the next generation coming up or anyone who's there can recognize the value of this event? It is 11 days, but there's a valuable reason for the celebration.
Yeah, and for those that, the people that didn't grow up here, we want them to understand why we do the party with a purpose, and that maybe they don't understand when they're buying that chicken on a stick, that they're funding a scholarship,
buying that $25 turkey leg.
Well, here we go.
It's $25.
I don't know where you shopping at for turkey legs, but I'm not paying no $25 for a turkey leg.
How much is a turkey leg, Melissa? Do you remember?
I would say upwards of 15 at least.
15 See, I was right. I said 13. I said 15.
18 maybe.
Yeah, it's probably more. Now, I haven't bought a turkey leg in a minute. So.
I think that's good though. That's good because she hit it right up on the head. Like people like me, that really don't know the importance of Fiesta.
Right.
Because, not to downgrade anything, but I'm just thinking, they just partying for 11 days. And I know that's not the true history of San Antonio. I think just for me, I would love to see more of the history.
Right.
Because again, coming in, majority Hispanic city, I want the city to embrace the Hispanicness of who you are. I would love to see it.
Yeah. It's capturing that Spanish tradition, right?
Tradition,
as we
right.
celebrate the Alamo, we celebrate San Jacinto and all that good stuff. And you want people to know that come in from out of state, and they're like, wow, not only is San Antonio great, but the history. Right. I didn't know the history, and so that's kind of cool. I think it's an awesome opportunity, and I'm looking at you, I'm like, man, I need to try to go for 11 days. I don't know if I can.
I mean, I don't do all the things all the time.
Right.
Y'all were saying this, but I try not to make decisions based on fear. At the same time, I'm not going to be reckless. Right.
Right.
Put myself in a situation that's dangerous.
You're gonna be aware.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
In 2026, you have to be aware.
Aware.
Nowadays,
not in fear. But aware.
Right, aware, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's good. Fiesta. Okay, maybe I'll try another day. Not 11, but another day. Oh wait, they wear those pin, like kind of like our pin
medals.
There we go.
Medals, bro.
Pins,
we wear our armor of God, but I see a lot of pins going around. What's the history of that?
They're collectors.
Okay.
Not every, but a lot of organizations will have Fiesta medals. I just went to Child Advocates of San Antonio. I got onboarded for their board, and they gave me a Fiesta medal, and I got so excited.
Some people get really excited for that.
Yeah, I used to do. I'm a big Godzilla fan. So I used to do Godzilla and like all the different characters. So they're just kind of kitschy. Like different organizations have different themes, and you collect them over the years. The Spurs always has a really great one every year that people are dying to get their hands on. They're people that have trading like.
They have a trading?
They have like a trading...
Like they trade cards and stuff like that?
Wow.
It's like when my
like a
kids
Pokemon?
Like
Digiman?
I have a 1998 Spurs one.
Yes,
Ooh, you got a 98?
I'll give you my 98 Spurs one for your 92 Spurs one.
What?
Trading events. That's what I was getting at. And they'll have debuts, Fiesta medal debuts. It's a big deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I learned something new.
For a long time, I never knew that. I never knew that.
Really? Yeah.
Man. Okay.
From Melissa today.
Hey, she
Melissa came with the lessons.
I mean, she was a council. I mean, she's very educated, bro. Like she know what she's talking about now. What you expect?
My education of that though was just growing up on the west side of San Antonio.
All right.
Okay.
You don't not learn that stuff. You know, like I'm really proud to call myself Puro San Antonio.
Talking about the west side of San Antonio. You were District 6 Councilwoman.
Yes.
How is that? Because I know a good friend of mine's that wants to
who are you talking about?
That's thinking about become a council person. Nah, this flat. I always told Emery, man, I think you'll be a good council person.
Yeah, it's hard.
Well, I got Melissa right here, bro.
Right.
She can school me on some things.
So like I was always intrigued on like, is that something that you always wanted to do, or it's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it? and see what happens.
Yeah, so it was somewhere in between.
Okay.
I grew up, so fun fact about me, I'm actually pretty introverted. It takes a lot for me to kind of be out there. So I grew up a little bit shy, was just a little, reader, right? Never in a million years did I think that I would run for office. I never wanted to run for office, but God has a plan, right? So if you indulge me, I'm going to tell you a little story. My senior year in college at St. Mary's, I majored in political science. I wanted to work in the policy area, but I did not want to run for office. My last semester, and this is, the early 2000s, right? So the registrar calls me, and back then you used to have to go talk to the registrar. It wasn't all online. So I go and I talk to her, and she says, "You're short 3 credits." I'm like, man, it's February of my last semester. I can't start a class again. I was super upset. Went to talk to my advisor, and he said, "You know what? Let's try to get you an internship with a council member." I was like, okay, I was just kind of desperate for the last 3 hours so I could graduate on time. So I interviewed with a gentleman named Ed Garza, who was at the time the District 7 council member.
Right.
He hired me as an intern. It was my class, and I was able to graduate on time. All that worked out, but I got hooked. I loved every second of it. I busted my butt. I hustled. I worked really hard, and he hired me. And then he ran for mayor, and he won. So
that's what I was gonna say. He was. I read that
mayor.
he was mayor. Okay,
he was our mayor. Yeah. So I worked for him while he was mayor, and I loved it. I also knew that I needed a little more experience under my belt. So I went back to school, got my law degree, got my MBA, was a practicing attorney for a while. Then in 2060, and even then, I wouldn't say that I wanted to run for office. I just wanted to get back in the political space. Because at the time I thought, I know my limitations. I'm not that girl, right? But apparently that I didn't have those limitations. I just had to push through them, right? So I go and practicing, and I start in a class called Latina Leadership Institute. We were the first class, and in that class, was surrounded by like-minded women, Latinas. I understood that I already had what it takes. I always had what it took, right? I felt like I needed the education. I felt like I needed the experience. Happened to be that the council member at the time was terming out. So I was like, here's my hat. I threw it in. And I just had a lot of confidence to do it at that time because I felt in a way sort of called to it. It wasn't even my, I don't feel like it was a choice I made. It was this kind of
desire,
calling.
this calling.
To get into it. So I, in 2017, lost that race. I was in a runoff. I lost by less than 400 votes. But the next morning I got up, went, took all my signs down, and I said, I'm doing this again. I knew I wanted it. 2 years, I ran again, and I won in 2019. And then, the rest is history. But I never thought I would do it. If I wasn't short those 3 credits, back then, I would have never gotten into that. And I wouldn't be here talking to you right now.
Wow.
So my last race, Ed Garza was my treasurer. I mean, he's been a great mentor to me and just a really solid, grounded person, even through all of his, accolades. He's just a very humble, good guy. And so I learned from him, just how to be in that space, in that world. Because you can lose your identity real quick. You can believe the hype about you, right? The good hype about you real easy. And I always reminded myself when people, when they hated me, they were mad at me about a vote. They was like, I hate Melissa. I would remind myself, they don't know Melissa.
They don't know Melissa.
They're mad at the councilwoman, the decision the councilwoman made. They don't know me. But that coin flips. All those people, I love you, you're the greatest. You don't know me. You love the councilwoman, right? So that kept my feet on the ground always. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that because that's a good way to stay grounded, right?
Come on.
Because you might see a decision that I make, but you don't really know me. You don't like the decision.
Yeah.
You don't like the decision, but you don't know me. So I'm not going to let that get to me.
Yeah.
Right? You love me because I made a decision based on what you wanted.
Yeah.
But you don't know me, so I'm not going to let that get to me because maybe there's something about me that you're going to end up not liking if you really knew me. Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it all.
That's a lesson.
It is.
That's a lesson because you don't have to put all of your needs into how people validate you.
Come on.
You don't have to be validated by others. You've been validated by the one who created you and giving you the opportunity of where you are. There's your validation. Why are you looking for more? Make sure that you stay grounded. If someone likes you, that's great. But I'm not going to put all of my time into you liking me or continuing to like me. I'm going to continue to move forward with the mission that I have, the opportunity that I have, and I'm going to do my best to be successful.
Yeah.
So that's a really good story.
And my mission was always representing, every vote I took was not Melissa or even the councilwoman's vote, it is the 150,000 people behind me that I represented. That's their vote, right? So that's they not everybody who loved me or hate me or didn't care at all knew what all went behind every decision, every vote. It's my job to explain that, you know, and let me be clear. There were days when I would get real down because people would come for you, you know, but then I would remind myself, they don't know Melissa. They're mad at the council member, right? You have to kind of separate it out.
Yeah, there was something within you that was reminding you that.
Yeah.
You know, it's real easy to let the surface get affected, but then that voice within you will say, you know, the Holy Spirit will say, they don't know you. Yeah. Let's keep moving forward. Yeah.
So do you feel that because you did, obviously you got hate and then you got love as well. Do you feel that in your term, media was a big factor of you really not being as effective to make people that didn't like you understand, or was media a factor
media is always
for your
a
voice?
Factor. Media is always a factor. I mean, you this is something that I didn't understand before I was elected. I wanted to go do the work, right? I'm like a keep your head down work kind of girl. But you can't keep your head down. You got to be looking everywhere all the time because everybody is looking at you and everything you're doing, right? So you always have to be aware of media. There was a gentleman that came to speak one time to a public comment, and he wasn't a fan, and I sneezed. He had somebody take a picture of me while it just happened to be while I was sneezing, and then he put it up. Look at the face she made while I was talking. I wasn't making a face. I was sneezing. I mean, just, you know, that's the kind of thing you're always aware of, people looking at you. So media, it wasn't a factor for me necessarily in making my decisions, but it was a tool. Like, if you want to understand what all went behind this vote, let's talk. And I had a great relationship with media. They helped me to be more effective because they helped me get the message out to everybody. Because 150,000 people I represented didn't all vote, right? We have a pretty big voting problem here in our city, in our county.
We know that. Yeah, we know that. We know that.
So getting to those people that don't feel like government's for them, getting to those people who feel like nobody can do anything for me in my situation, politics isn't for me, getting to those people is really hard. And, you know, I use the community too. The media was big, but we use our relationships with the community. I had really good relationships with a lot of our pastors, and you go to church and you trust your pastor, and he would say, this is what's going on in a lot of times with politics, and that was great, you know, because it was another way to get the message out. I didn't even have to be there. They just needed to relate what was going on.
Yeah, they needed to line up the values of what you were doing to what their congregation would be able to understand. Yeah. Because that's what we talked about. Like, there is a media presence at to some scale, but it's not reaching everyone. And it's and for media to be able to be in every home, on every phone, it's not really it's almost an algorithm.
Yeah.
And so some of the people that are your constituents, they don't truly know the value of the person the values of the person that's running, and that's an issue, I believe, when it comes to the percentage of people that are actually voting.
No, you're absolutely right, bro, because I was thinking, like, well, you know, if you don't watch the news, then you don't really know what's going on here in San Antonio.
It definitely ain't on your algorithm unless it's like problems.
Right, unless the person has their own personal like social media, which I know now, like the councilman, I see all types of councilmen with the social. I'm not gonna say no names, but they just all up on it. I'm like, okay, I like it though.
Yeah.
I like it because now you're bringing us in. Now I could be like, okay, I like this dude. Like you said, they didn't know you.
Right.
You know, so all they could judge you off of is just what I guess the local media put out on you.
And social media is good and bad because you're right. I mean, the media is going to portray you how they want to portray you, right? They interview me and they take the sound bites, right? But on social media, I got to be Melissa. I got to be myself. They got to show me
the whole
working,
thing.
Right.
Yeah. And so, and it goes both ways, right? Like if people didn't like what I'm saying, there they are in the comments, right? But that was good feedback for me always. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about representing community, and it was one way to communicate with community. The churches were another way. I was a real big believer in just knocking on doors, you know? People are working hard. They're raising their families. They're not on their phones all the time. They're not, maybe watching the news. So I knock on their door. What do you want to see in your neighborhood? How do you want to do this? I learned that lesson early, about sidewalks. There's an old neighborhood in my district that didn't have sidewalks for years. So these folks are saying, hey, can you give me a sidewalk? I'm like, I feel like that's not that hard, right? So we go and I start allocating the money. And then I thought, you know what, maybe I need to talk to everybody on that street. So I just go knock on doors up one side and down the other. And one side of them did want sidewalks. The other side did not want sidewalks.
What?
Get this. You know why? Because it's an old neighborhood. They spent a lot of money on those monument mailboxes. You know, those like
The brick ones,
like,
yeah.
I don't want you tearing up my mailbox and putting a little, janky little weak,
little
mailbox.
on a pole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I was about to spend a lot of money on this sidewalk that they don't want. So one side got sidewalks and the other side didn't. If I didn't go knock on their doors and get their feedback, how would I know that?
Right.
I'm not going to learn that from social media. I'm not going to learn that from, I can't say that on the news. So that taught me that lesson is the ultimate form of communication is just talking to people, having a conversation. Yeah. You can't get to everybody. So that's why the other things come into play, but that's what I tried to do as much as I could.
That's awesome. That's a crazy story, first of all. And you're right. You got to make sure that your due diligence is done the correct way, not just talking to a couple people that happen to live on one side of the street. That's a really cool story.
That's the hardest thing is when you have the really loud voices and it's easy to go to the squeaky wheel, right? But there's a whole bunch more voices that need to be heard. So that was tough to get into those communities, but I'm sorry.
That's good. No, I was going to ask you. So that's that side of like that's that's during your time as a councilwoman. Let me ask you this question: what is it that you miss the most about being a councilwoman? What is it that if you want to share, what is it that you don't miss at all? Yeah. And what are you looking forward to now?
What I miss the most is being really helpful to my community. So I actually was born and raised in the district that I represented. So these are like my people, right? So getting to give back. Because thankfully I had a great family unit, but it takes a village, right? And the school district, the colleges, just the community members. I got one gentleman who lived on my block growing up and still calls me like, "What you doing? How you do?" He's just so invested, right? So giving back to my hometown, my community, helping is what I loved, and I miss that. I miss a lot of that. I get to help in a lot of different ways, but it was kind of a different scale. What I don't miss is the drama. There's some drama sometimes. Back then, now, forever. I don't miss that. I don't miss kind of people judging you for something that they don't understand. And kind of yelling and screaming and that I don't miss that part of it. For the future, I think what I always focus on, my prayer every day is like, where do you want me to be? Right? Where's my path? Right. Sometimes I have a hard time seeing that path. And so it's always like, make it clear for me what that path is, right? Because as you mentioned in my history, I love opportunity. I love to do new things. I want to learn. I want to engage. And so sometimes I kind of get really involved in something and maybe it's not the right thing for my future. But I believe that if I'm kind of following the path that I want to help and I want to be useful to my community, my family, my peers, then that's the right path. So that I look forward to that, and I'm finding footing in some different ways. Still a practicing attorney. I'm doing government affairs with San Antonio Apartment Association, which I've really loved and enjoyed learning more about housing. I said, I used to say when I was elected that I was a jack of all trades, but master of none. Right. But when you're off the dais, you get to learn, you get to really dig into issues. And so housing is a big one I've been a part of. I'm really, really grateful. When I was on council, I did a lot of work to help foster children that are aging out of the system. Right. That was a big, very inspirational issue for me. And I if you ever wonder if you made an impact, sometimes God comes back and shows you. And I had all these boards that are related to foster care that are now asking me to serve on their boards, and I feel really good about that because I feel like, okay, that's I did awesome. Something and somebody saw that, right? Yeah. So that's another big exciting thing for me going forward is to serve on these boards and continue to help foster kids and that whole system with SJRC and CASA and different groups. And even with the apartment association, housing is a big issue, right? So I'm learning a lot, and I love that about life. I don't think I'll ever stop learning, and I get just really excited about opportunity, and I want to engage and help, and so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, I'll tell you what, you were one of many awesome, I'll call it a signing, right, by the apartment association, because we are able to get someone who has that experience with doing these things and maybe going and knocking on doors, whereas we would have probably just sent out an email, and not gotten a whole lot of information. So that's really good for the apartment association to have you.
Thank you.
Do you see yourself in the future being back into that a councilwoman or
running for mayor. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I wasn't going to say that, Melissa. Well, I mean, you can always, you try. Hey, part of your story is saying, I'm going to win next time. Yep. So, but I mean, I don't, without, making my own decision on what I'm asking you. Sure. Is there a possibility of you doing that? I
mean, I never say never, right? And that's one thing I know is that I'm gonna follow that calling. That calling did not leave my heart. I still want to serve my community in a way that is as selfless as possible. I think I do that every day in my everyday work. Even as an attorney, I'm a disability attorney. I feel good about the work that I'm doing, helping people with special needs, the foster care, the housing, all of it. But I do miss it. And I'll tell you that I always learned way more about myself when I lost than any time I won. So now I've had 2 losses under my belt. I had a couple of wins, 2 or 3 wins, and every step of that is the lesson I've got to learn. Right. Whatever that is, right? So I would like one day to run again for an elected office. This last cycle with the county and state rep and all of that, I was getting a lot of pressure to run for different even judge, different. And I'll tell you that I didn't feel it. I'm happy right now where I am. I need a minute to sort of regroup. I have a tendency to jump in, feet first.
I said, it's craziness going on over there right now. I wouldn't want to be in that, but no. I didn't say that.
Yeah, you got to do it for love of community because you're gonna end up with craziness. I mean, there was craziness before. There'll be craziness again. And at the end of the day, you got to remind yourself why you're doing it. It was always the people behind me that I was representing. I'm a nerd about representative government. I really felt strongly about that representation. Another kind of fun fact, when I got elected in 2019, it was the first time a woman majority council was elected. And that was a big deal. I mean, the press, everybody made a really big deal out of it. And I love that. I love that I was part of that. I'm grateful. And we should. We're a majority woman city. So, I think, again, that's representation. But what I loved that I don't think that really people picked up on was that every single one of those women was grew up in the districts that they represent. So to me, that's representation. Every one of them was a woman of color. Every one of them was from that area. You don't have to be from an area to represent it, but that's representation. I came up in District 6 and I got to represent them, right? Yeah. So that was really powerful to me. No people didn't really pick up on that because of the majority woman thing, which is great. Again, we lost it the very next term, right? So it was a good thing that we got it done. But that's just a lot of lessons that I learned from it. But I'm continuing. I do believe I'll run again for another elected office. I think that's going to be a ways away. I'm getting everything kind of settled in my private life as far as just professionally, and my baby girl's in high school now. I want to get her through high school. She's the youngest, so
you got her at Taft as well, or
no? She's at Warren. She's at Warren High School.
Oh, okay,
yeah, she's in the magnet program there. All my kids went through the magnet program.
Nice. I got my daughter went through a magnet program at Marshall, so that's pretty cool.
Marshall, the law. I was on the board of that when they started.
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. You've been on all these boards.
Yeah. Well,
I don't. I'm an attorney. I loved it. I'm like, man.
I just want to be helpful. When they asked me to go speak or they asked me to be on that board, I'm like, yeah, of course. My husband was a teacher at Marshall for many, many years.
Nice.
History teacher there.
Okay. That's awesome.
So I wanted to give back to that.
You going?
No,
okay,
go ahead.
So you brung up your personal.
Yeah.
I want to go personal, just a little bit, not too much.
Sure.
Who is Melissa outside of when you go home and you don't wear the SAAA badge or you don't have your political mindset? Who's just a fun Melissa?
So first,
Who is she?
First of all, this is what I remind myself every day as I'm a mama, right? I have 3 kids. I got 2 boys and baby girl, and that's my number one job, right? I'm their mom. I'm a wife. We just had our 28th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations!
Awesome.
Thank you. I was married very young.
Hold on. Let's stop there.
Years.
What?
28 years. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop there because we need to celebrate that.
We need to celebrate that
because how long you been married?
I've been married for 14
14
years, but I've been with my now wife, obviously, since we were in 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Obviously, we had our ups and downs. I was
Sure.
a young boy.
I love to celebrate that because I'm only 4 years in, but this is my second marriage. I know I look young, but I ain't that young now. I'm in the 40 club, you guys. But you don't hear that with the younger crowd. They don't want to get married. Something in the water where people don't want to get married, but there is thriving, marriages still going on. And I love it because, again, when you commit yourself to another person, it's hard work. Yeah, it's very hard work. And but God, that's what I say. Right. But God, it's such a beautiful thing. So I just want to stop there.
I want to say something on the back end of that with this. Let's talk about this a little bit, because when you look at a leader, you want a leader to show, without having to prove all this stuff, to show that they are able to be committed and they are able to work out the trust that they have been given for certain positions. And when you're able to show that you can do that at a level of marriage, that says a lot about the leader that you're choosing, because there's things that you have to battle when you're in a marriage, and there's also things that you have to submit to. There's things that you have to stand firm on. There's things that, and when you see that a leader can be committed and faithful in this, that tells you everything about the leader that you're choosing to bring in. You don't want to choose someone who has been through so many different things, and you can't really, okay, well, how can I measure it? And that's truth. I stand on that. Anybody could say anything, but next time you make a choice on anyone being a part of your team or anyone being part of your leadership, you might want to consider, well, what do I see in their relationships or in their, that tells you a little bit more about a leader. So congratulations on 28 years.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Sure. And you know what helps me out, man? And I bring it into everything that we do is communication, man.
Right.
I realized that, me and my wife, that's my best. If I can't tell my wife even my wrongs,
right?
Sometimes I might slip up like, oh man, babe, I did that, and it's just like it's okay, and that's our.
She tells you it's okay, just like that.
Yeah, for sure. Because my wife know who I am. I follow Christ, bro. Always. Sometimes, but that doesn't mean I'm perfect. You know what I'm saying?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Like, man, I was on social media and I looked at that booty a little bit too long. Like that's how I talk to my wife. I'm serious.
No,
I'm serious, bro.
I know you say. I know. I believe you.
And the reason why I do that is because it's something that I struggle with in my younger age. I love women. So, if I can nip it in the butt and not go down this, I'd rather tell my wife than be sneaky. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm DMing females.
Well, what happens with that though? What happens is that will seep into your walk.
Come on.
And your professionalism.
Come on.
So you want to stop it where it's at.
Right.
You want to stop it where it's at.
Right.
Hold yourself accountable. And then you could say, that will not have no power over you as long as you continue to hold yourself accountable. Right. But like I said, it says a lot about leadership,
right?
Because there's communication and has to happen be in your, in your personal life. That is hard to do. So when you come out here professionally, it's like, nah, I've already been through something that's a lot harder, and I've made it work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So that's probably what has helped you is like your ability to be like, no, they're thinking about the councilwoman. They don't know me.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
good.
awesome.
And also having that base to go back to. I'm really grateful. My husband, my kids, my dad, my whole family. I mean, that they have really stepped up. Another thing I didn't understand, even though I worked at City Hall for many years, when your butt is in the seat and your name is on that plate, you're not somewhere else, right? So it's really hard on your family. I didn't know that. And my thankfully I have a really strong, big Mexican family here in San Antonio, and they all really stepped up. When I decided to run, I sat my 3 kids down. They were younger, and I asked them permission. Yeah. Because and my husband and my dad really, because they're all the ones that are like, first kind of responders, as it were, right? But I asked their permission. And funny story, the second time I ran, I sat them all down again. I said, now we know what it's like. Remember, Mama was gone. I was block walking. I was doing all the things. The boys right away, yeah, go for it. My daughter says, I need a minute. I got to think about it. And I was like, what? I didn't expect her to say no. So she gets up. She was 8 at the time. I pick her up from school the next day, and she said, I thought about it, and I think you should do it. And I was like, okay. I mean, so she said yes, and it was a family venture, and it made everybody be okay with sometimes the sacrifices.
I'm going to lean in on that.
Selflessness.
I want to lean on to that. That's
selflessness.
That's a great word.
That's so
I want to lean in on that
Mm-hmm.
because that says a lot about submission and the willingness, the humility to say, this isn't only about Melissa. This is about the future of my family, the future of our relationships, and I am going to move forward with a unit mindset to where I allow my family in.
Yeah.
Where I'm not just saying I'm entitled to be able to do this, but I am going to humble myself and say, this is important to me. My family is important to me. And if you guys do not agree with it, that's okay. I could do it again later. I could try, maybe not now, but later. That's just an amazing character trait. And I want to tell the audience, these things turn out for the better when you decide to say, I'm going to have a humility, and I'm going to talk to my family. I'm going to talk to my husband, and I am not going to expect them to respond the way I want them to. I am just going to go talk to them with them in mind, so that we can move forward as a unit. Yeah. And I bet that it took a burden off of your shoulders as you moved forward to do things in the best way that you could. You didn't have to worry about how your sons felt, how your daughter felt, how your husband felt, because they were already on board with you.
And they were on board. And we lost my mom. She passed from cancer, which was very young. She was in her early 50s. So my dad has been sort of that third parent for us, right? He lives half a mile away from us. So even talking to my dad about it, I have a very traditional Mexican, family, and my dad and my brothers. I only have brothers. I had to explain to them, look, the paper's going to say things you don't like about me. People on social media are going to say things you don't like about me. You have to remember they don't know me. You have to, you can't get your ire up, right? And get
emotional.
So right. You got to, and first of all, I would tell them just stay off of it. Don't read it, right?
True.
But it's hard when you see your sister, your daughter, and kind of getting lambasted by anybody, even if it's not true. So I had to tell, that was another consideration, right? My husband, my children, my children.
Especially your husband, man.
Yeah.
And your dad.
And my dad, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah, my very protective brothers too. But my dad, thankfully, he's not on social media. But he would hear, or he would get kind of upset, and I would remind him, remember, they don't know me. They're not talking about me, right? You know me. And then that it would happen maybe once or twice, and he just kind of pulled back away from it.
Sometimes people talk about they measure you to what they want.
Yep.
And we run through that as followers of Christ. And when we tell someone we're a Christian, where they're really measuring us to what the worldview of a Christian is, they're not really thinking about what it means to be a follower of Christ. So when you're working in your type of profession, or if there's any city council people that are walking in this with this mission, you have to remember that they're measuring you to what they think you should be. They're not looking at what you're actually called to be.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that we have to be aware of, and we have to talk to our families about. We have to prepare everyone for, how that looks.
Right.
And we also, as spectators, as the audience, have to remember that some of those council people, they have families.
Right.
And they have people who are very protective of them. Right. Although we disagree, we might want to disagree in more of a professional way, or more of a gentle way, or more of a okay, look, I didn't like that you put sidewalks in front of my house. Yeah. We don't have to go off and call you names, because calling you names ain't going to get the sidewalk removed.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
sometimes it's just come on. If we think of the human aspect, it would be a lot better.
And we had a little taste of that even when we started the podcast. You know, I mean, people came after us left and right, and I'm like, Emory had to say, no, do not respond to them. Do not. And I'm like, but they don't know us. Emory, yep, they don't know us.
I'm reminded of that. So I'm a big music lover, and I like to go to live shows. And maybe I was about a year in, and I went to a punk show. I'm a big punk.
You jumped on the stage, didn't you? No, I'm just messing with you.
Jumped off.
I didn't. Stage dived. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Stage dived. But I was at the show, and an actual constituent of mine came over, and he was like, you like punk? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I like punk. I'm like, see, we're the same. Right? We're kind of laughing and joking about it, but it does weird people out when they see you just being regular San Antonio Melissa, right? I mean, so it was a weird like shift for me. Like, why wouldn't I be? I'm still going to do all the things I've always done. But yeah, so it's a weird, like, people kind of, to your point, they'll turn you into what they want you to be, right? Not necessarily who you are.
Yeah, they hold you on a stand. They hold you to a higher standard, but they hold you to a standard that's on their standard.
Yes,
it's not like it's not holding you to the office that you are in. It's holding you to where they want you to be, and it's like we have to be careful. Yeah. You can't just stay inside your house from now on. And and just like officers, we have our nonprofit. And officers, we try. Some people in the community believe that it's almost like they believe that officers aren't human. And so they think that officers are going back to the office and plugging in and waiting for the next day. And it don't work like that. And we have to see, I believe it's just seeing the human side. They saw you at that concert and they're like, wait a minute, you come to a concert?
Right.
Well, yeah, I like music.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people in the community, the issue is idolization. And I feel like sometimes when we're in these leadership roles, because they feel like they can't be in that role, it's kind of like they idolize you. So everything that you say, how you walk, how you talk, it should be just perfect thing. And as soon as they just waiting, oh yeah, she did like this.
She threw that gun.
You saw that?
Yeah. She threw that gum wrapper on the floor.
She's the worst, bro.
God.
Oh my goodness. What? San Antonio can do so much better.
You had ink on your finger?
What? And it's just like, I look at it from the outside in because, I follow the councilman and I follow what's going on and I read the comments knowing I don't need to read it. And it's just like, wow.
A lot of judgment, yeah.
Wow.
I'll tell you, I think it's even, slightly, not slightly, I'm going to say it, it's worse for women, right? I got criticized one time because my lipstick was too bright.
Wow.
I mean, did you hear what I was saying? I mean, there was a whole thing.
Did you hear the words coming out of my mouth?
Yeah.
Not just look at my mouth.
I did this whole really great thing, I was super excited about it. It was a foster care issue, and I got a comment, why is her lipstick so bright? What's she trying to do? I mean, like, oh my God. Because I like bright lipstick. I like bright colors.
Right.
I'm Latina in San Antonio. We like bright colors, right? And it's down to that,
Can I ask you a question about this recent run? We had about the polls, about Jasmine Crockett, I believe.
Yeah. We going there?
Yeah, I just want to go there in regards to the polls. Like,
I love it.
Do you... Can you explain to us usually how the polls work as far as like the timing, like, because I believe that she was talking about they were turning people away from the polls.
Oh, the voting.
The voting. Am I saying poll? I'm not using the right term.
I wasn't sure if you meant polls like
before
the race. Like,
no, the voting. Where they were voting polls, at. Well, how does that, just for clarity for our audience, because there's a lot going on in social media, and no one better to hear from than someone who has actually had to look at that.
Dealt with it. Yeah. So, I mean, I want to say that election judges are hardworking, right? And they're put in a bad position, sometimes by the federal government, sometimes by the state, sometimes by the candidate that's there, sometimes by the voter, right? So they have difficult jobs, and they're kind of doing it out of the kindness of their heart, right? To be there. And election judge, I mean the poll workers, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I can't tell you statistically, like, is it really happening? Are people really being turned away or not? I will tell you, in my own races, I would get reports of them and I would call the county and they would say, yeah, that happened, right? It happened to my own mother-in-law one time. She got turned away. She had her ID, but didn't have her voter card. You don't have to have your voter card. You can have your ID, right? So just different little things. And it's election judges that maybe are doing the best they can, but maybe got some bad information. Right. There is some confusion sometimes about what the state requires and doesn't. In this last race, there was just a lot of, there was allegations of racism, of sexism, and I don't doubt that. sometimes that happens. On a big scale, like statistically, does it make a difference? I don't know. That's something I couldn't tell you. Yeah. But I have seen people be turned away from the polls for reasons they should not have been turned away from the polls.
I think I got turned away once because I didn't have my paper thing with me.
But you had your ID.
Oh yeah, I go
and all you're supposed to need is your ID. Yeah.
You know, those are real stories then, right? If those are real stories, you don't know if that would have made a huge difference, but it's still a real part of the part of the story. Yeah. And just based on time, I want to say one more thing. We good? So this is what I learned. I don't know if I've been in a box or what, but when I went to go vote, you choose the party and they only give you that party.
Yeah, that party.
So even if what do you think about that?
Well, that's what happens in a primary.
Right, but still.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Wait, I'm talking about, so what you're saying is whatever Democrat or Republican, they just give you all Democrat?
That's all they're going to give you. They're going to give you the yellow sheet of everything that's let's say Republican, and they only give you that. So even if you had a thought of just based on values that you wanted to for this particular this particular race, you want to go for this person who happens to be a Republican, and then you have a Democratic ballot, you can't.
Yeah.
I know that's probably been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
I have to strongly disagree with that. I feel like we're missing, the candidate may be missing a lot of opportunity because some people aren't looking at party. They're probably more looking at values.
Yeah, I mean, you want them to look at values.
Yeah.
You want them to be issue based, not necessarily party based, right? Now, if you think a certain way on certain issues, and you're probably going to align more with D's than ours. But like, I'll tell you, I don't have every Democrat value. I don't have every. Not anybody has any Democrat value. All Republican values. Right. Maybe you kind of mix and match, right? It's not. I mean, we're all differently made, right, and understand differently. So I do agree that they shouldn't. I don't like that they're separate. I understand historically why they are. I think it needs to be taken another close look at. I mean, we've evolved as a country so much, even in just the last several years, but there may be some I'll tell you, I'll use the judges as an example.
Yeah,
I practice.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I practice in these courts, right? Yeah. Years ago, there's these sweeps, right? Like a Democrat sweep or a Republican sweep, and that's why, because you pull the D lever, you pull the R lever. There's a Republican judge that got ousted years and years ago, and I was shocked because he was a really good judge. I mean, he was a very fair judge. I love being in front of him. He happened to be a Republican, sure, but that's not necessarily my side of the aisle. But I was surprised that he got ousted. It's because everybody went and voted for the D. They pulled the D lever, right? Yeah. So, and also you could be missing some candidates that are really, really worthy that don't necessarily fall in either bucket, but they have to choose a side, right? Gosh. Then you have people that claim independent who, I mean, people don't always take them that seriously. Right.
That wasn't even a button on the thing, right?
Right, yeah.
That's funny.
Having to go in and declare right away, this is how I think, one way or the other, that's not easy to do. In municipal elections, it's not partisan at all. So you vote for the person, the issue, the values, like you said. But in county, state, federal elections, you're picking through a party. In the primary. Now, in the general election in November, you get to choose from everybody, but everybody's not on that ballot anymore. It's whoever the nominee for the Republicans.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So,
jeez, man.
Did that bother you, bro?
That did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people probably haven't even opened their eyes to that, but it's important. I believe that's important. I believe those voter guides are going to be extremely important on paper. We don't have enough books. We don't have enough voter guides to where you can actually do your homework. I know you can do your homework online. Yeah. I understand that. I get it. But to have a booklet that tells you everything that's non-bipartisan, I believe it's called. They're
supposed to be nonpartisan.
Yeah. So to be able to see that and to be able to do your homework, highlight based on values, that's just an awesome tool.
Yeah.
And those are some things that we have to do in order to get to a better place when we're choosing some of our leadership.
I agree because I don't live in Bexar County. I live in where I live at Cibolo, whatever county that is. But there's a whole bunch of people that I don't know who they are. Yeah. So I don't know where, because like you said, you could say, oh, just look online, but it's just like, I know, but
I know that.
Yeah, I know
I
that,
get it.
but
Yeah.
still, I would like something, their history. Like, I even would like to see them on a podcast sitting down and tell me who they really are, because now
Slash future leader.
Right. So like now I'm like, I'm just gonna move to District 6 just to vote and be like, we want Melissa. We want no. But no, on a serious note, I didn't know that about you. And now it's just like, man, I like this.
Yeah.
And I think I can see that for our future, the future candidates to come sit down and be like, okay, I love that about her, you know?
And
beautiful
podcasts, I love being on podcasts or even radio shows because you get to have this conversation in front of anybody that wants to hear it. You can read a voter guide about me. You can read my bio. You can even go to my website. But hearing me talk is looking in my eyes is a different thing, right? League of Women Voters has a really good voter guide they put out every
that's where I learned it from.
Yeah. And they're objective. Another way is to go to, if you have an organization that you affiliate with, maybe they'll have a voter guide. This is who helps our cause, our industry, whatever it is. But there's nothing like hearing from the candidate themselves.
Yeah.
Right. But to your point, not everybody has time to do that. Again, they're working, they're raising their families, they're doing their thing. They're not going to necessarily go to your rally, right? So we have, as much as you can, have to get into homes and talk to people.
Yeah, I love that. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Our future.
Yeah.
Our future sitting right here.
Yeah. Right here. Ungrounded.
Right here. I want to give a shout out, man.
Okay.
Melissa's assistant is here.
Okay.
Sarah is here.
Okay.
Working in the background.
I see Sarah everywhere.
Yeah.
She's everywhere.
Yeah, we'll give you a shout out. You can't play the background for long.
Not for long.
I know that Melissa is having an effect on you. So perhaps one day we have another district leader.
One day she'll be right here on this couch saying, y'all, look, I came a long way.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
I seen everything.
Yes. Right. Happy to have you, Sarah.
Yes,
thank you for playing the background so well for Melissa. And Melissa, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to, anything else you want to share?
Well, I want to jump on that. Sarah has been incredible. And I remind everybody that the person on the stage isn't always the one doing all the work, right? It's always the people behind her making sure that the duck looks good on top of the water. Right? the feet.
There's other feet.
Right.
She's the feet.
She's so thankful for that. I've been in that position. That's what got me to be in this position, right? Yeah. So I'm thankful to her and everybody. But thankful to you guys. I love having these conversations. I do miss sort of being in the mix about things. I'm happy to come on whenever you like and help however you can.
We gonna remember that.
Always, really. I love that's my jam. I love helping out. So I mean, the last thing I just want to share is that your listeners are following their heart. So many times people want to give you advice on running for office, on raising your families, on professionally, and you take that advice, but you filter it through your own lens because you're the only one, you and God are the only ones that know what's right for you. So to take that advice and turn it into what your calling is.
I think that's a beautiful thing. And I'm going to close with this. And then Emery, you can go ahead, close off. One thing that I love that she did, and this is to the leaders out there, that it's not necessarily all about her. She recognized that, hey, I have a team. And a lot of times, people want all the credit. It's kind of like Saul. You know what I mean? They're doing good, but he wanted all the credit for what he done. And it's just like for you to take the time to even just do what you did with her. That means a lot to me. I get emotional, by the way. Yeah. Like my heart, believe, because I think I'm misunderstood sometimes around here because I'm not from San Antonio. Okay. So I might, speak from the heart, nothing, never negative. And what you did, it just, I don't see it a lot, and me and Emery try to do that everywhere we go. We highlight the person that, because sometimes you never know what she needs, and it's just like, that'll give her that boost, Oh, the lights went on. Thank you, Lord. Okay, the lights went on. But
this is time to get real.
Yeah, but let me get my spotlight real quick. Motion sensors. But yeah, Emery, that's what I wanted to say. I appreciate what you just did. Amazing. Emery, what you got?
No, that was a great way to close it. Thank you so much for being on the show. Everyone, remember, if you are seeing over the mountaintops, consider the shoulders that you are standing on. That will tell you who your team is and how grateful you should be. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the lessons. Thank you for all that you do. And I cannot wait to see what God brings into fruition for your future. And just know that you got a team here with Grounded that is willing to help wherever we can. Sarah, shout out to you. Thank you for being here today. She was on me, bro. She was like, hey, where's the place at? What time are we doing this?
Come on.
What's the date?
Come on. I like it.
Yeah, and all I was feet under the water.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, we good, bro?
We good, bro.
Meantime, in between time,
Stay grounded.
Oh, oh.